Heather and I, we want to make art in a way that creates roadmaps for our future generations back to our ancestors. And so to do that, it's really important to come and be able to come to facilities like the Burke Museum that holds, the precious items that our ancestors created, so that we can learn from those items. And then that will help create kind of like a little path of clues for future generations to come back and figure out who they are and where they're from.
So one of the things that we're looking for is how the garment or the article was constructed, like how the pieces were put together to begin with. Was it put together to be waterproof? Was it put together to be an article that was worn? A daily article? Was it a decorative item?
It's interesting. I think you can sometimes tell the purpose of something, whether it was created for, someone really special in their lives, or whether this was like something that they sewed pretty quickly for sale for tourists or what have you, the collector.
So we do zoom in really closely on some of those items because some of the handiwork, the work that was put into these with such love, is just amazing. And the stitches are so tiny, and so you really have to kind of really look at that article and to figure out how it was put together.
There's this little tiny hat, it's about this big, and it's obviously for somebody's baby. And the stitches are so perfect, so fine, so small, that someone clearly made that so perfectly for their child or their grandchild or a child that was so special to them. And you can really see that love was put into that creation of that item. We were able to apply for this, and we're so blessed to receive this opportunity. And we want it for just more than ourselves. I can only make so many things. I can only do so much, but if we can have other Sugpiaq people come here and be able to take a look at some of these things and also be inspired, then I feel like it just builds so much more, helps more people feel grounded and connected.
That's the only way that this is going to carry on, is if we learn how it was done and we pass that along to our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, nephews, other community members. And so part of the goal of this is to know for myself and to be able to be in place with these ancestral items, but also to pass that information along, because not everybody can come here and hold these. And so that's very much an honor for me to be able to absorb as much as I can and then share that with our community.
Sometimes when you visit ancestral pieces that are housed in museums, it can almost make you sad or maybe even a little angry. And I think being able to come here with such a good friend makes it just so much more of a positive experience. It kind of helps you to guarantee that you just have this really amazing time looking at the pieces.
Our culture is still alive, and there were a lot of influences that tried to maybe make it not so. And so for me, it's like, yeah, we're going to keep this going. It's so important because this is who we are. This is who we really are. And so if we can pass that on to the next generation and encourage them and tell them that they are enough and this is who they are, then the culture keeps going. We keep going, right? Sort of like the language. If I can learn the language and I can teach what I know to others, my children, grandchildren, my granddaughters are learning now, then that keeps us alive. It keeps us as Sugpiaq people alive.